Okay, welcome everyone to the first Recreation and Education Committee of the year. It will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Barker? Here. Mrs. Draw? Here. Mr. Gamble? Ms. Cayley? Here. Chairwoman Valerio?
Here. At this time, will the administrative table please introduce themselves if there are any guests here?
Madam Chair, I'm Jerry Helfer, the Assistant County Executive. Would you like us to introduce them?
I would love to do that.
Madam Chair, Neha Stowe, Law Department.
Is it Neha?
Dave Rinaldo. I'm Larry Staub, Director of Parks.
Jason Kennedy, Environmental Services.
Tim Murphy, Director of Real Estate.
Dave Rinaldo, Deputy Parks Director.
Terry Rice, Department of Transportation.
It's a good thing that we have some comedians that are government staff. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum this evening?
There's not.
Okay, is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak would like to address the committee at this time? All right, there being none, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. You have the November 29th, 2011 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 12-17, authorized contracts with
Okay, moved by Mrs. Draw, seconded by Mr. Barker. Is there any discussion at this time? Mrs. Cayley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, everybody of dubious name over there, to our first meeting this year.
Thank you.
I just have, if I may ask through the chair to the administration, one or two questions. And the first one would be within the referral, you refer to it as Passero Associates and Erdman Anthony rated as most qualified. Could you explain that, please?
Through the chair, Jason Kennedy, Environmental Services. This process went through our standard consultant selection process, and these two firms were rated by the selection committee per the selection criteria to be the most qualified for the project.
Thank you. And if I might, through the chair, are there specific projects in addition to what have been ongoing that this would be addressing in 2012?
Through the chair, there are a few projects that have been worked on in the past year. It's some carryover work, but generally speaking, no, this is to have a consultant on hand to address those smaller scale types of activities and initiatives that come out outside of the larger, planned capital improvement projects. So oftentimes it's basically available on the IFCOM when projects arise, as they often do through the course of a year.
Thank you. Just so I understand, these are smaller projects that would be coming up in the course of the year. So would they be listed after the fact as a result or within the CIP?
Yeah. You want to? Through you, Madam Chair, these would be covered under the CIP portion called Buildings and Structures and Improvements to Roadways. They tend to be smaller projects. One such example, through this term contract, we designed the renovated parking area in Seneca Park in the upper park where we included that environmental feature of the swale, the environmental swale. We also utilized services through this contract for architectural services when we did the redesign of the Olmsted Lodge. So it's smaller projects like that that wouldn't be a capital project unto themselves, but where we would need some technical assistance.
Thank you. And through the chair, would this be addressed? I'm not a golfer, let me preface this. I've understood through other comments that there are some, I guess, low-lying areas within the golf course. Would any of this expertise be used or could be utilized to address that issue?
Through you, Madam Chair, definitely could, through probably a subcontract with a company that was more of a golf specialty company, but definitely that's something that could be addressed through this.
Thank you, but it's not currently like in the pipeline to doing that, but it's in your list, wish list?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Any other questions? No, Madam Chair. All right. Okay. There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. The next item, please.
Referral 12-018.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Straw, second by Mr. Barker. Any discussion? Mr. Barker.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration, why is the town of Penfield giving us this land?
Through you, Madam Chair, that's a great question. The town of Penfield has not used this for town purposes in over 20 years. As their former sewer treatment plant, which later became their public works garage. They've been renting it to private concerns for use of that building for the past few years. I believe a landscape company was using it until recently. They felt that this was the most appropriate use of this land is to turn it into parkland, and since it's surrounded by Abraham Lincoln Park, that the county was best able to manage this land.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Mrs. Cayley.
Thank you. Through the chair, since it does abut up to the park, will there be any future development of this particular area, or do you already have a use in mind?
Through you, Madam Chair, most of it will be used for passive recreation. It's heavily wooded for nature trails that are currently on there and connect to trails that we have in Abraham Lincoln Park now. There's also a fenced area with buildings that will be used for a maintenance facility for the parks and the parks operation. As we continue to develop this park, we'd need to be able to have equipment on hand and staff, and the buildings are in great shape, and it's very suited for that kind of a purpose, so we would maintain that as well.
Thank you.
Any further questions? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Is there any other unfinished business to come before the committee? There being no unfinished business, the January 23rd, 2012 meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee is scheduled for February 28th, 2012.